Yeah. Hey, that way. It's my main man talk. That way.
I guess so.
Nigga move north to Piscataway.
I guess so.
Slips and ships, seaway.
I guess so.
Money left a man down on the freeway.
I guess so. Blessed by the best show. Time for a nigga to get some shit off my chest, yo. Not saying got the best phenomenon. Got more brothers. Those big beers call me Ramadan. Niggas dropping bombs. It's a sign of the time. Little grind on these lines. Polished them up. Impeccable shine. Incredible mind. Feasible grind. And reasonable find. Make everything seemingly mine. Rip the souls out. Make them levitate. OG told me never hesitate.
Listen
Say what I had to say.
Yes, we are back in the building. Yes, indeed. And
I guess so.
Yeah, we had some great fights last night. Great fights. If you like boxing, then you like what you saw last night, because it was basically textbook clinics going on of how a boxer could beat a brawler and how two boxers, both with power, was just banging. And yeah, and it was another lackluster, I would say, fight between heavyweights. And I really didn't care for it because the heavyweight division is at this point a very just bad division when it comes to names, right? So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to disparage anybody's name, but I'm going to do that. So let me stop lying, okay? Let's get to it. Let's hit that intro. Let's go. Yes. Terence Crawford versus Ismael Madrimov Pitbull Cruz versus Rayo Valenzuela. You also have Andy Ruiz versus Big Baby. Yeah, we're going to get into the mix today. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into the mix today. These are the topics for today. Terence Crawford versus Ismael Madrimov. Pitbull Cruz versus Rayo Valenzuela. But we're going to get to the crap first. You know what I mean? We're going to get to the crap first. Andy Ruiz versus Miller, right? Both of these guys, big guys, and they was banging, right? I mean, they were banging, hitting each other, you know. And Andy Ruiz had received some kind of injury to his hand where his bone was sticking out. He showed it after the fight, you know, during the, interview in the ring. He showed that his hand got messed up, so he couldn't really use it, his left. And, for the first 4 rounds, Andy Ruiz was digging in the crates. Yeah, he was doing that. He was digging in the crates, and Big Baby ain't have an answer. And he started late, right? He started fighting late. And I would say for like 5 rounds straight, he kind of took over the fight where he was outworking Andy Ruiz. And Andy Ruiz would hit him with a pop shot every now and again, but you could tell the power wasn't there because of the injury. So what I would say to Andy Ruiz and Big Baby, I think that's a fight that should happen again, because when a guy is not at his best, and it's no fault of his own, I think they should do that fight again. And the decision. Let's talk about the decision, because the decision to me was a joke. Now, you got a guy basically showing that he was injured during the fight, which means he wasn't throwing as many punches as he usually do, right? And then you had the other guy who was landing way more shots than Andy regardless of the hand injury, right? Because the fight kept going. He could have stopped the fight and said, "Look, I'm injured, due to injury, I can't continue." And he could have did that, but I give Andy Ruiz credit for that part where he stayed and took some punishment for 12 rounds. And, baby, as big as he is, 300-pound man, couldn't get Andy up out of there. So, Andy Ruiz, you get a lot of credit for that chin because he was getting hit. It just wasn't no mustard on it. Now, if that was Deontay Wilder, the whole different story, but but it wasn't. So we got to see 12 rounds of pity pat. We was playing pity pat last night. So yeah, that's what we got. And Miller, in my opinion, should have won that fight. From I would say the 5th round on. And he probably lost a couple because Andy did still do some work in the later rounds. But I think that fight should have been close, right? Should have been close. But I think Miller did enough for him to win that fight. And he said something to that effect during the after fight interview in the ring. And he said, the sport is forever be tainted when you have decisions where a guy that everybody in the ring, everybody outside the ring know who won, but you get a decision where it will go the other way or it's a draw. And last night, that's what it was. It was a draw, and it shouldn't have been. I think Miller did enough in that fight to win the fight. It would have still been close, but I think he did enough to win that fight, at least by 2 rounds. And I saw it with my own eyes. Everybody in the rings saw it because at the end of the fight, Andy Ruiz looked kind of dejected, like he knew he lost until the decision was read. And that's when he started, talking regular. And I was like, ooh. That speaks volumes, and when the guys say it, and then the crowd agrees too, because he asked the crowd, who y'all think win? He said him. So at the end of the day, where these judges get it wrong, something has to give. Something has to give where I don't even know how you fix that part. I don't know. I can't say it was corruption or anything like that because Miller didn't lose. But what I would say is if it looks like a duck, quack like a duck, God damn it, it's a duck. Stop playing with me, okay? All right. So let's get to the next fight where we had Pitbull Cruz versus Rayo Valenzuela, right? Valenzuela coming in as an underdog, massive underdog to Pitbull Cruz. And a lot of people that been watching the pod, y'all know how I like Pitbull Cruz. I said, Pitbull Cruz is the man out here. Who want that smoke other than Gervonta, right? And I said a lot of great things about Pitbull Cruz. And I still think he's a good fighter. I'm not going to do that. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them people. If I say I like you, I like you. I'm not one of them going to jump off the strip, just because you take an L. I don't do that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it was classic boxing versus a brawler. And the boxer outdid the brawler. Because Pitbull, for some reason last night, and you got to give credit to Rayo for that, he kept his jab in Pitbull face all night. So where Pitbull, instead of him just coming in and doing what he wanted to do to work, Rayo kept that jab in his face and made him think about every time he came in, is it going to be a jab or is it going to be uppercut? Because that punch for Ryu is what kept Pitbull off of him. And at one point in that fight, Ryu hurt Pitbull, and you can see it because his legs buckled. You know what I mean? And Ryu took advantage of it. He took advantage of, his reach. Because in the sport of boxing, you can have an advantage and won't use it. Like I seen a lot of people that fought Pitbull Cruz, let's say Raleigh, who had a longer arm reach, right? And this is where I got a little heat when I said Rolly Romero was not a great fighter, because when you got an advantage on a guy and you don't use it, that means you're not mentally aware inside the ring to let you know where your advantages are. Take advantage of the jab. Why are you going to stand in front of a brawler when, first of all, the brawler hurt you a couple times? So you get on that back foot and you ride the bike. Excuse me. Ugh, what was that? Valenzuela did. It was easy for Pitbull to beat a guy like Rolly, because Rolly engaged in, I'ma stand in the pocket and brawl with a brawler, when you had a serious advantage with arm length and use it like Valenzuela did. Valenzuela is now a world champion because he know how to box. See, you can have all the power in the world. And I think for people that's in the know, in the now, somebody recent like Floyd Mayweather, where he hurt his hands so many times in fights and he just boxed people head off. He wasn't Pretty Boy no more. He was just Money, right? Because Pretty Boy gets you up out of there, right? But Money learned the game where, okay, I don't got the power that I used to because I my hands is bad. So now I'm just gonna box your damn head off, right? So that's what Valenzuela did to Pitbull. Pitbull was coming in there. He had his moments where you thought he hurt Ryu. He had his moments where he had him cornered in the ring or against the rope, and Ryu just got out the back door. That's the sign of a guy that's mentally fit in the ring while the action is going down. He's moving. He know how to get out the way of the punches. He wasn't standing in the pocket longer than he had to, which was Pitbull's other opponents' flaws. They want to sit in there and bang with him. No. Why I'm going to sit there and give you an opportunity where I got an advantage? It makes no sense. So Rayo Valenzuela, okay, ring generalship, IQ, all of that was on display. Footwork was impeccable. He was giving him angles where Pitbull was like, oh, he's here, try to set up to be here, and then Ryu's over here. And he was using that left and that right uppercut because splitting the guard. Because Pitbull was just coming in like this, right? And Ryu was coming right down the center, uppercuts. Pick his head up, couple jabs, get out the way. Great game plan from Garcia camp. Garcia is a great trainer. Him and his brother Mikey, yeah, I always liked them too. Yeah, but Garcia came in there with a very good game plan. Got his fighter to do what he needed to do to win and become a world champion. And those are signs of guys that know what they're doing in the ring, right? They know what they're doing. They turned the brawler into just that. because he didn't have no other options. When Pitbull seeing he couldn't really get his stuff off, you could see in his face he didn't know what to do. He only got one gear to go forward, right? And what I would tell Pitbull, you ain't gonna knock everybody out, brother. You ain't gonna knock them all out. You got to start adding to the repertoire, because this is not I wouldn't say a bad loss. He was fighting a good fighter last night. But what I would say is you got to add to the repertoire. That way, when you come back and you run into a guy that know how to box, you're going to have to figure out another way to get to him other than just trying to knock him out, because that 1-2, that's all Pitbull was throwing last night. He didn't have really no combinations other than that one. And he didn't really go to the body as much as Pitbull normally do. Like, I usually see a better body game from Pitbull. I didn't see that last night. I didn't see he tried to cut the ring off, but like I said, the guy he was fighting was a really good boxer, and he knew how to move his feet without letting Pitbull know which way he was going. Like I said, ring generalship was on fleek last night for Rayo. He knew how to beat Pitbull, and that's a testament to his camp, his preparedness for the fight. Garcia and them got him ready, and kudos to Garcia, and congratulations to Rayo becoming a world champion. His story was a good story where, his parents gave up everything just to get him to America so he could fight, so he could live his dreams. And he said after the fight that this was for them. I have nothing but respect for that, not forgetting who got you where you're going, got you where you're at, and salute to him and his family. Congratulations again on being a world champion. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And, nothing but success for him. Now, I got to throw a curveball right down the middle. Yeah, because that's what I do on 24/7 boxing, right? Curveball coming. What do you know? Now, they got a contender in that division now. So what should I say? Who should be a good opponent for Rayo Valenzuela? You said you was ready for Pitbull. Are you ready for Tank Davis? Oh yeah. Yeah, that gotta happen there. That there gotta happen. Yeah, we gotta see that one. That right there. Sign me up. Sign me up. You know what I mean? Because right now, who looking good out here? Rayo. Take advantage. Take advantage. Dare to be great. Call Gervonta out. Say, I want the smoke. You know what I'm saying? Ride this win to the next level. If you don't think you ready, don't do it. But, man, that looks like a good fight that could be made out in the mix. And yeah, let us see that. I'll sign up. Sign me up. Y'all know how I do it. So I'll sign up for that. Yeah, take my money. Yeah, I'll do that. Now, the main event of the evening was Terence Crawford versus Ismael Madrimov. Now, what I could say about that is that fight was a lot more than I bargained for it. I said I, not Terence. I, right? I know his name Terence too, right? It's crazy, right? Because my name Terence too. But you know what I mean, right? when you look at that fight going into it, nobody really knew who Madrimov was. I saw him in 2 other fights, and I wasn't really aware of how good he was. But in preparedness for me watching him versus Terence Crawford, I watched him in 2 fights. And what I will say about him is very scary fighter. Very scary fighter. He has all the tools. He got a chin, number 1. He got great footwork, number 2. He knows how to get in and get out. He also know how to inflict damage without being damaged. But he got damaged last night, but he knows how to do it, because it could have been a lot worse. Should have been a lot worse, right? In the eyes of most people, right? But you have to give credit where it's due. Terence Crawford did not roll this guy over, nor did I think he would, because moving up in those divisions, you can ask Canelo Alvarez. It's not as easy as everyone thinks, because the power level from a guy, it's only, a few pounds. But if a guy's been fighting that weight his whole career and the other guy is moving up, it's going to be an adjustment that has to be made for the guy that's going up, which Terence Crawford made the adjustment. Now, do he look like he's ready for that division? I think so. Especially he's coming there with a purpose, right? He's coming there with a purpose to make a mega fight between him and Canelo, right? But let's talk about Madrimov, right? Who made a very, very, very good account for himself last night. Like I said, I did not know he was that good. And this is something that I will admit on the pod. Like, some people act like they know every boxer that ever existed and know everything about him and know all the, if he like to eat grits or if he like to eat some other shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what I do. I'm going to give y'all the skinny. I was not very aware of Madrimov. Only saw him 2 fights prior to this one. So I'm giving y'all what I knew and what I know. What I know is that's a bad man. He's a bad man. He don't play. And he gave Terence Crawford everything that he was looking for. And in a good fight, in a competitive fight. See, every fight, in my opinion, that don't end in a knockout don't mean it's a bad fight. Because, see, if you are a boxing purist, right, the sweet science, the sweet science. If you like to see people trade, if you like to see technique, you like to see ring IQ and ring generalship on display from both of these gentlemen last night. They both gave us that. They both gave us immaculate boxing, and they both gave us a show where I wasn't disappointed. Now, I heard a lot of people say, oh, he should have got the knockout. Really? If that's all you watch boxing for, then every fight ain't that. But to see a guy outskill another guy, you see a guy outwork another guy, to see a guy and the other guy is working too, like, that was a great fight. It was a good fight for us to see. And people forget that Terence Crawford had a very long layover. He was off for 2 years since Spence, and that ring rust was apparent. I don't even know if it was that. I think it was just Madrimov was a really good opponent. And he was a world champion, undefeated. So what does that make Crawford? 4-time champion in 4 different divisions. Look at that. 4-time champion, 41-0. 41 victories, no defeats. 4-time champion in 4 different divisions. 3-time undisputed champion. What more do Terence Crawford have to say? What more do he got to do? Right now, in the sport of boxing, Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the game. And if you don't know, now you know. I just gave you some stats. I could give you more stats, but we ain't all about just stats around here. Right? 4-time champion in 4 different weight classes. 3-time in 3 different weight classes, undisputed. Who walking around like that? It's some guys that did stuff like, but who doing that? It's not many of them, right? It is not many of them. So add another belt to Terence Crawford's stable. Add all the accolades that brother deserved to his resume, because he just beat a champion and a whole division that he wasn't in. Who's doing that? Who's doing that right now other than him? And ain't beating up on people that nobody ever heard of. Who's doing that? Nobody. Terence Crawford is pound for pound #1 in the world. Better believe that. And he's been that for a very, very long time, even though they wasn't trying to give it to him. But he has been that for a very, very long time. Pound for pound, #1. Okay? So congratulations to Terence Crawford on winning another belt, another strap. Absolutely. Now, what I'm about to say now might turn some folks off, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. It's some things that people know and they don't know. If you don't know, you only know me for 24/7 boxing. I appreciate you for coming and watching me just for that. But the other thing that I am is a person that never bites his tongue, never hold my tongue. I'm going to speak my truth the way I see things. And the thing that I have noticed with all the coverage that's going on with that beautiful woman, Sonya Massey, to have her light extinguished in the fashion that it was, it lets me know in this country that we are still hated. We are still being hunted. And not only do they do it to men, but now they are engaging with our women and treating them like dogs on the street. You know, it's one thing to beat a brother up. You know, you got a whole bunch of guys, y'all big and everything, and y'all beat a brother down and extinguish his light. It happens so many times, and it seems like the more that it does happen, the less things happen. But the way that woman was shot and killed in her home, and she called the police for help because she thought there was a prowler around her home. These interactions that the police are having with us needs to be discussed, because if it's allowed to happen to a certain group at a high rate, when they get done with us, they're going to come for you. So this discussion is bigger than just a black thing. Although as of late and in recent history, this force that's being inflicted upon black men and now black women if something don't be done, something has to be done. Because it's one thing when you destroy families. It's one thing when you take someone's life. But what can happen is for people to be silent and quiet about it. I refuse. And I'm sorry if I made this a political podcast or cultural podcast at the end. But for everybody that watches this and you are in the presence of my voice still at this point in the video, watch that video and you listen to that interactions both of those officers had with a woman. And imagine if that was your sister. Imagine if that was your mother. Imagine if that was your daughter being treated and talked to like that in the first place, let alone the inhumane way they took her light away. Imagine being told and not told how she transitioned, and you find out from watching a video. Imagine that. The value of black life is what they showing you in their eyes. When will the shit stop? I don't know. But every time something happened to this, it shouldn't only be black people talking about it, because that could have been your mother, your sister, your daughter. Everybody should be speaking about this. The inhumanity of it. The way that animal talked to her. And this supposed to be somebody that signed up to serve and protect. Did he do that? A goddamn coward is what he was. And I hope they throw the goddamn book at him to let these other ones know that the shit has to stop. That man outweighed her by over 100 pounds. Outweighed her by over 100 pounds and was taller than her by a whole nother person. Guy 6'4", 6'3". What is she? 5'6", 5'5"? And this is how you would treat a woman, shoot her in cold blood. Murder is what it was. And ain't no other way you can de-escalate that situation. And she said to him, I rebuke you in God's name. She knew she was in presence of a devil, not the devil, a devil. Yes, yes, the devil is busy. His demons are out here inflicting pain on people. It ain't just the police. It's people in our everyday lives. Family, fake friends. When is black people gonna get their shit together? Start treating each other with a certain amount of respect that will translate to other people. This don't got nothing to do with that, but now I'm speaking. Oh man, you got to see it when it's coming. I'm going to do a whole podcast on Sonya Massey. I don't want to beat my sports people down with this, so I'm going to end this podcast on that. Be safe out here on these evil streets. Hold your family close. Give your loved ones a hug because you never know when it's going to be the last time you're going to see them. I want to thank everybody for coming by and watching the pod. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care. God bless and be safe. Peace. I'm out.